My previous speaker has just spoken a bit about the radiology. I'll be touching a little detail and I'll be skipping many slides since I have to cover whatever I have to say in 10 minutes. And the number of slides is much more. But this is a gentleman because of whom I am here today. And I say my hello to Dr. Pradeep Kumar. He is also here because of that, maybe. This is a gentleman who invented the X-rays some 117 years ago. And from that invention of X-rays, we have now come to the era of MR, PET and nuclear medicine and radiotherapy. A lot of things have changed because of development in technology and IT and their integration. He incidentally happened to be working in his lab, which I have a photograph here. This was his lab, where he invented the X-rays. And today we have MR suits, we have CT suits, we have cath labs, and we have whatnot, and many diagnostics. He could simply see that the rays which he could not see have different penetrating power, which he utilized for viewing the or using it for imaging the inside of any structure. Before that, there was no provision to know what is inside the human body, and it was only the dissection of the cadavers or the dead body one was able to find out what is inside the human body. But this thing revolutionized the imaging of the body, and today we are standing where we can see every bit of human body. This was the X-ray on the left side of his wife, which was the first image which he took. On the other side, he has taken an angiogram at that time using some radiopaque material and injecting into a dead body's hand. And we are now imaging in the cath lab of our coronary arteries and doing angioplasties and all that. This again was early X-ray machines. They gave a picture like this. We could just see the fracture somewhere there in the leg. The clinical use which the first X-rays were put to were the imaging of the bone. Chest X-ray, we could see the heart, we could see the lungs only. We could see other diaphragm and mediastinal masses. But later on with the soft tissue, we had a tough time in imaging the abdominal structures. We could only see our spine, we could only see our pelvis or the hip joints and around that, but we could know nothing about our liver, our spleen, our stomach and all that. So that was a limitation till middle of the 20th century or till 1950 or so, that we were working with these things. Then came the contrast media, which was, the development was going on simultaneously. Contrast media is nothing but they are the drugs or the agents which are used for visualizing the soft tissue structures which cannot be seen clearly by conventional X-rays. And with this we were able to image our GIT by using the entering contrast. We were able to see our kidneys, we were able to see our uterus and other structures and many more things. I'm not going into details of these things because they are not relevant out here. But these were very important landmarks in the history of development of radiology, and which made the treatment of the disease, diagnosis as well as the treatment of the disease very easier and simple for the surgeon, physician and obstetrician and any other medical practitioner. This is how we could see the kidneys and the urinary bladder, which were otherwise not being seen earlier when the contrasts were not available. They had their problems, but we have overcome even those problems. We lost even patients because of this contrast media. But now the latest generation of contrast media, which are called the non-ionic, and they are much safer than the earlier contrast media. But again, this is a development and again one of the defining moments in the field of radiology. But these contrasts though helped in diagnosing the disease, but they had their own problems that they sometimes caused damage to the patient's kidneys. But we are taking care of all those and using them with all precautions necessary. This is another image which you can see is nothing but the half of the population of the world needs to undergo this at some time or the other, nothing but the mammogram. We all know the breast cancer is one of the largest killer world over, and it is the leading cause of cancer in the women in our country as well. We have screening modalities for breast cancer, diagnosing the cancer early and treating it accordingly and increasing the longevity of the patient. Again, the problem of imaging the thyroid, we came to the field of nuclear medicine, going to the imaging at the molecular level. We earlier had the nuclear medicine as a part of radiology, but later on the radiology was divided into radiodiagnosis, radiotherapy and the nuclear medicine, but again they are coming back to a single platform because of the technical developments. They have to work in unison and in tandem to reach a diagnosis at proper time and for the proper investigation of the patient. These are just images to show that these are the nuclear medicine images. We could even see the myocardial perfusion or the blood supply to the heart, which area is dead of the heart muscle, so that we can take necessary steps. These are our images. So this is just to tell you that by seeing only on an X-ray, we could either see bones or we could either see lungs, or we could just estimate the size of the heart. Nothing more was possible with after that, when the X-rays only were available. But with the advent of computerized tomography, we were able to see all across the mediastinum and every structure was visualized, and we could go deep inside the chest. Then came the era of ultrasound in the mid-80s when we were still students of radiology. We came to know that something has come as an ultrasound. Though it was being used since long for measuring the depth of the oceans, nobody applied his mind to use it for any other purpose, but later on some people use it for going deep inside the body. And we all are aware, I think many of us are knowing the piezoelectric effect which was utilized here in imaging the body tissues. This was an armamentarium in the hands of the radiologist, which has revolutionized the management, diagnosis and treatment of the patient and early recovery. But these are all technical points which we can pass over. These are the applications of the ultrasound. Again, another you can call defining moment in the field of radiology. We could see gallbladder, which was earlier not visible unless you do some contrast study using OCG, which is obsolete now. We could see liver, we could see spleen, and we could also see the developing fetus within the woman. We could find out the baby's problems, but there is a problem out here. It was not only the advantage that we could see how the baby is lying inside the womb. It is transverse, vertical or oblique, where is the placenta, it is growing, not growing, dead, alive or whatever. Now we can tell in a jiffy, but we have misused it. We all know about female feticide, we know it. We don't have to do it. We know that there is a PNDT Act in this country applicable to all radiologists, and nobody should be doing it actually. But this is the disadvantage of this technology, just to mention. These are all the pictures of the abdomen which were not seen on plain X-rays, but can be seen by the ultrasound. Again, continuing with the computed tomography, we can see the inside of the brain, we can see inside the thorax, we can see inside the abdomen. Every small organ can be visualized, which was the CT scanner was invented in 1972, though was made available for clinical use in the late 80s. And the guy who invented it was working for an electrical and musical instrument company, got a Nobel Prize for this. It was the first CT scanner where the image used to take about 17 minutes for the single scan. Now we have sub-centimeter, sub-second scanners called fourth or fifth generation scanners, where we can take images within a few seconds for the area we want to scan and see inside everything. The advantage of IT or communication technology has helped us in making reconstruction of the images from the data acquired through CT scan. We can make image in any plane, and we can have multi-gunner restructuring. We can see inside the vessels, we can see the branching and all that. This is the surface rendering of any body part. So every small area can now be visualized with the advent of CT. These are the clinical applications. We can even see inside the tubular organs without even, some of us might be aware of endoscopies. People putting in tubes inside the esophagus and going inside. We can do that without actually doing it. And that is called virtual endoscopy. This is nothing but an application of the software of the communications. I'll just skip through those slides and I'll go to my last slide, that magnetic resonance imaging is the another modality which has come to the advantage of the clinicians, where we don't have any radiation. That is the biggest advantage, and it has got a very high resolution for the tissues to diagnose the pathology or to look inside the human body. And the other advantages that are coming into this are the functional imaging. We can see at what time which area of the brain is functioning actually live. These are the angiographic or vascular images without actually doing angiography, obtained through CT scanners and the MR. No, there is no time further. I'll just say thank you to the organizers for giving me this time to do here. And I'll just rush through for just visual images. This is a cell. Now we are coming to the era of molecular imaging. We have been seeing the images of the whole body organs or the smaller parts of that. But now the targets are our molecules in the cell wall, nucleus, ribosomes and mitochondria. That is the purpose of this slide. And with this, I say my thanks to all. Thank you.